Anyway, I think it's important to know, first of all, you have to know the facts vis-a-vis fictions. Facts, you have to be rationalists, men and women, the Indian people, my best friends, those just using your logics to be rational. Okay, from one side they say, from one side you're gonna hear, and from the other side you cannot hear because there's no any. They have biased media. It's my experts is national security and cultural diplomacy, intercultural diplomacy as well, Islam studies, Islamic studies, and Iranian studies. Besides that, I'm a family therapist as well, educational counselor, educational consultant. Besides to be a rabbi, it means I can see all the aspects of that during the 42 years from my studies to gonna give the not only the not really the exact but real Israel, whatever that I see, and we can share with you and response to all the questions. One, so it means the biased media that I have in the world, and they are anti-Semitism, anti-Israel, and they are because they got petrol from Iranians as well, from Arabs. They want to be pro Arabs. During the history, we had it all the time. Also, in United States, we have the globalists as well, the liberal Democrats that were extremists, and BLM as well. We had besides BLM, it is a Black Life Matters. Besides them, we have all the extremists got to the streets, ruined, destroyed, and during the Trump elections, and they blame the Republicans for that. So it's not just for the Israel and whatever that you can find in the United Nations that are anti-Israeli. They say why all the resolutions are against Israel and you don't obey 242, 338, and you're going to evacuate all these places that are conquered and to give it to Palestinians. Okay, first of all, we don't have any partner that can demilitarize this zone. Second thing, we don't have any partner that's the representative of all the Palestinians. Which Palestinians? In Jordan, 78% the Palestinian. Jordan, Samaria, that's a million and a half more than that. Palestinian Authority, the terrorist group. Which one? Tanzim and whose? Arab Israelis that they have their three parties right now in the streets of the Akko, Ramle, Lud, Haifa, and Jaffa. This were stoning, and as you see in the picture, these stones from where is coming? It's coming from the Temple Mount. Ribono Shel Olam. It's a Temple Mount, and this the stone that you throwing to one each other to the cars, and hundreds of cars were ruined and destroyed and was burned in these the mixed cities that we have coexistence with the Arab Israelis. What's happening over there? That even in Israel we have the hegemony of the liberal Democrats and leftists and neo-Marxists. They say leftists. They don't know what does it mean. Leftist means that the communists that are pro-Arabs. That's the biased media in Israel. We couldn't see all these hundreds of cars that were burned by cocktail Molotov, and people shooting, getting out and shooting the mafia, the Arab mafia, they're shooting, and people got to their houses. They don't know how to going to protect themselves, not only from the missiles and rockets coming from Gaza, 5,000 rockets every time, thousands Gazan without any discrimination, getting to all the homelands, even two Arab Israelis were killed in this strike or launch of missiles as well, rockets against Israel. It means that even Arab Israelis over there that they thought that we're going to coexist with them in the mixed cities, we see that okay, throwing and burning 10 synagogues, hundreds of houses of Jewish houses that were, they say, okay, it's the Jewish. You can get over there and throw the cocktail Molotov. It means that, first of all, we don't have any partner they're going to speak with. Even that the parties over here, three parties that Islamic and extremists, even that they wanted to gonna have a coalition with the left and right. It's a coalition Israel government. They are between 10 to 15 seats out of the 120 seats in the Parliament of Israel, even though we see the after 72 years and all the budgets that were put for the coexistence, whenever that they want to get to the power, gonna get to power, they don't have any mercy and compassion to Israel over here. That's they see we not as a Jewish homeland that is mentioned in Quran. That's the Jewish homeland, and it's Jerusalem is not mentioned in Quran as well. Palestine is not mentioned in Quran. Just in 1964, we have the Palestine speaking about two nations and Palestine under the Ottoman Empire, the 1914, 1918, that we have the history of the World War One. There wasn't any Palestine over here. There was Ottoman Empire. So it means legally, by the law of United Nations and so on, the sovereignty of these people and the people of the Arabs that were under Ottoman Empire. Turkey was we are by your own. The Arabs they have they made artificial countries like Jordan. Who's Jordan? 78% are Palestinians. Who's Syria? Syria. Okay, we had Syria that were under Byzantium, and Iraq. We did have Iraq. Okay, and the colonies of the Great Britain got all these places, and France got the mandate of the Lebanon as well, the Syria, and over here we have the same problem that 100 years ago. The dispute between us and the Palestinians is not the same with the Arab countries. You see the Arab countries, Ibrahim Accords, the enemy of me is my friend, that is Israel, because the Iranophobia that we can find in the region for the peace process in the Persian Gulf. We need the Israelis over here to gonna get in contact as Arab countries with Israel.